Hello my friends.
We are infinitely grateful
to meet you all again.
Today we continue our review of the financial successes and failures of Hearthstone. Don't miss the first part if you haven't watched it yet.
The growing dissatisfaction of the players and Blizzard's attempts to manipulate the economy dealt the game a mortal wound. At the same time, the release of the Battlegrounds mode led to the beginning of a whole new chapter in the history of Hearthstone. The game has evolved into a platform for card games. Blizzard has managed to create another phenomenon. The new approach made it possible to delay death and even lay the potential for a great future. The main feature of the new stage of Hearthstone is the large number of ambiguous decisions, but the game finally got a dynamic development that made it so much better.
So, the new page began with the controversial announcement of the new Battlegrounds mode at BlizzCon in late 2019. To be honest, this announcement did not cause much excitement among the players. Auto Battler is definitely not what the players were waiting for. The hype around this genre of games was rapidly declining.
2020 was the year of the Phoenix. This is very symbolic, as Blizzard's main goal was to return the loyalty of the community and resurrect Hearthstone from the ashes. To do this, the developers have put in a ton of effort to make this year the most unique.
The main innovation of the year was the release of the 10th class, Demon Hunter. For 6 years, the community has been dreaming about the appearance of a new class in the game, but Team 5 has ignored the desires of the players for many years. We were convinced that a new class would never appear in the game if Hearthstone remained at the top. Why make a titanic effort and implement changes if everything works fine? The new class works like a lifeline for the game. This is one of the best occasions to attract the attention of a wide audience. For this reason, the appearance of the Demon Hunter was a signal to us that something was wrong with the state of affairs in Hearthstone. But the release of Demon Hunter instead of a positive effect caused extremely negative consequences for the meta.
Fucking disgusting.
The Demon Hunter situation is something we have never, ever seen in Hearthstone before.
With Demon Hunter's debut on the ladder, the meta quickly became Illidan's playground. He had several of the best decks in the meta, and in an unprecedented fashion, has been nerfed twice since the release of Ashes of Outland, and it wouldn't be that surprising to see him nerfed again sometime soon.
Blizzard, fearing that the new class would be too weak, made it too strong. There is a certain logic in this decision. Most casual players are not attracted to balanced mechanics, they want to use powerful effects. As a result, the Demon Hunter was completely broken. It took Blizzard 4 waves of nerfs over 2.5 months to balance the new class.
In addition to the new class, Blizzard conducted a major overhaul of the ranked system by introducing new leagues and star bonuses, which combined enabled players to climb faster than was previously possible. Ranked rewards have become more generous and useful. Additional first-time ladder rewards were also introduced. For instance, if you were able to hit Legend, there was a free classic legendary card waiting for you. According to Hearthstone top decks, all of these changes resulted in a 10x increase in the number of players who reached legendary rank in April compared to March. The total number of legendary players in Standard was 230,000. It's just wild.
All new and returning players received one free deck of their choice from a special set for the first time.
Another important feature of 2020 was the release of the new duel mode. The new way to play was a hybrid between arena draft mode, dungeon run style adventure, and a constructed format. To create a starting deck, players needed to use their own collection of cards. In addition to standard sets, players needed some old expansions. Moreover, in order to unlock signature treasures and additional hero powers, it was necessary to fulfill certain conditions for the number of cards in the collection. These restrictions have created a large entry barrier for most players. We assume that Blizzard was looking to encourage players to increase their collection of cards as well as create additional value for older sets. Not surprisingly, this approach did not impress the community. The low involvement of the players led to an almost complete halt in development and improvements to the mode.
Another feature of the year was the return of free solo content. We got an unusual adventure trial by Fellfire which was told in poetic form and also a new type of adventure, Book of Heroes. Each chapter of which told the story of the main characters of the game. This year, in addition to the traditional 3 large sets, the first mini-set of 35 new cards was introduced.
During the year, 13 balance changes were implemented. We've never seen so much interference in game balance before. Patches with new content became regular, and were released every month.
Battlegrounds has received a lot of development. We have seen the release of 3 new tribes, dragons, pirates and elementals. Also new heroes, numerous balance changes, and the Dark Moon prize event. Battlegrounds very quickly earned not only the title of the most popular mode in Hearthstone, but also the status of the most popular auto-battler. According to Blizzard's official infographic, players spent almost 670 million hours playing Battlegrounds throughout the year. This means that the average online during the day was about 75,000 players. The secret of such a stunning success was very simple: addictive and unique gameplay plus the lack of monetization. The only item that could be purchased was seasonal perks for 2,500 gold or $20.
The culmination of this year's changes was the release of a new progression system which turned out to be a disaster. It all started with a disgusting poll in which Blizzard presented the initial idea of the Battle Pass. It was a terrible concept that took away the free-to-play aspect of the game. Blizzard's main thing was to take almost all the gold out of the game's economy and replace it with other resources, and thus force all players to buy packs for real money. Blizzard has never done anything worse than this concept. After an extremely negative reaction, the developers stated that it was just a crude idea. But we are sure that this is not the case. Each award in the table was too well calibrated for an unfinished concept. Blizzard was really looking for ways to drastically reduce the amount of gold in the game's economy.
We had a special video on this topic. Don't miss it, if you want to know all the details.
During the official announcement of the Battle Pass, which was called the Rewards Track, the developers assured the players that the new system will not deprive them of free resources, they will even be able to get more gold. But the players discovered that it was a lie.
Taking away players' gold at all? And if you aren't, then what is the new rewards EXP system actually doing then?
We're absolutely not taking away any of the gold you can earn.
So all of it was a lie?
Well, yeah. No, wait. Oh, yeah. Yeah, it all was a lie. Toodles!
So it turns out Blizzard lied to us. According to Tavern Pass, the rewards we get, that we get more gold, pretty much all of that was a giant lie. If you were to go to Reddit, look at any of the calculations people made. It just turns out that the new system is not as good as it was promised to be.
I don't know how many people on Reddit, I've read so many different threads, I've looked at so many different stats, and all of them lead to the same thing. You get less gold than before. You do. You get some other stuff. You get some legendaries, you get some packs, you get some skins, and if you do the paid route, you get even more skins, and you get a coin, and all this stuff. Yes, you do. But you get less gold than before.
The community declared a boycott and called for leaving the game. The paradox is that Rewards Track did not deserve such a dramatic reaction. Team 5 fixed all the fundamental mistakes made in the survey and added a really important change to the progression system. Yes, the system had flaws, but even in the first version, it gave the players much more advantages compared to the old system. We believe that Blizzard has created one of the best progression structures in the industry. Team 5's mistake was only in the lack of dialogue with the community and in the wrong wording during the presentation. The year of the Phoenix was the most change-filled year. Team 5 began to reactively innovate the game. Unfortunately, most of them backfired or fell short of the community's expectations, but despite the many failures, I like this approach much more than the old approach with minimal innovation.
So how did these changes affect Blizzard's audience growth and profits?
According to Blizzard's official figures, more than 23 million players logged into the game at least once during the year. This is an incredible figure.
But according to ActivePlayer.io, after the release of Demon Hunter in April, 900,000 players left the game. During the year, the number of active players dropped from 4.5 million to 2.5 million. An interesting fact is that in January 2019 the number of monthly active players was almost 8 million. These results look like a disaster. Unfortunately, we don't have exact data on Hearthstone's earnings, but according to AppMagic, the game has earned approximately $75 million on the mobile platform. Thus, despite the titanic efforts, Hearthstone's profits continued to decline. Hearthstone completely lost the long-term confrontation between Yu-Gi-Oh! Duel Links in the field of profit on mobile platforms. Of course, this is not all the income of the game. We don't know anything about profits in China on the Android platform plus profits on PC and Mac worldwide. But mobile earnings data may at least partly reflect trends in Blizzard's earnings.
2021 hasn't been that impressive in terms of innovation. An important change was the rotation of the classic and basic sets from the standard format and the introduction of a completely free core set, which made the game more friendly to new players. The rewards track has also received its final much improved look. In addition, the classic format was introduced, which allows you to plunge into the atmosphere of Hearthstone 2014. Unfortunately, players lost interest in the new old way of playing too quickly. Although, as for me, it was an interesting idea.
We saw the release of 3 main and 3 mini sets, that were united by one story, as well as the return of familiar mechanics, hero cards and legendary quests. But the metagame needed balancing too often. During the year, the developers again implemented 13 balance changes.
We also saw the Book of Mercenaries, a new solo content with a very good storyline and a dramatic ending. The most important release of 2021 was supposed to be a completely new game that expanded the Hearthstone platform. Mercenaries mode is a combination of RPG gameplay with roguelike elements. This is an incredibly cool concept that offers players a whole new gaming experience and has huge potential. But Blizzard did everything possible to make the new product completely unviable. The main objective of Blizzard was to create a new stable source of income without investing effort. A feature of the mode was a tedious and completely meaningless grind, monotonous gameplay, lack of content and storytelling, a completely broken economy and packs as a way to monetize. While we love the original concept, we have to admit that Mercenaries is the worst game Blizzard has ever made and the biggest flop.
According to Firestone data, after the release, players began to lose interest in the new mode almost immediately. Speaking of the popularity of modes, Battlegrounds held a strong lead as the most popular mode for almost the entire year. The gap between constructed modes and Battlegrounds has been increased.
Team 5 continues to support Battlegrounds. Quilboar was introduced as a new tribe, along with 30 new creatures and a brand new buddies mechanic. But that wasn't enough to keep up with teamfight tactics, which saw huge growth at the end of 2021.
But the main feature of the year was not so obvious. Blizzard has created an incredible amount of offers in the in-game store. Dozens of different bundles, mini-sets, pre-orders and special offers for the Mercenaries mode, battle-ready decks, Tavern Pass, which, by the way, turned out to be a very popular purchase among the players. In addition, a record number of new hero portraits have been added to the game. In just a year, more portraits were released than in the 6 years of the game's existence. The developers also tried to implement the monetization of the Battlegrounds mode with the help of new bartenders and alternative hero skins. Store updates became regular and took place every 2 weeks.
According to Sensor Tower, Hearthstone managed to earn $42 million in the first quarter of 2021. As you can see, the profit of Yu-Gi-Oh! Duel Links was much higher. For the entire year, Hearthstone managed to earn over $84 million on mobile platforms. Profit finally showed growth dynamics, but in our opinion this result does not reflect the real state of affairs in the game. Most likely, by increasing the number of offers in the store, Blizzard only managed to mask the fall in profits from the sale of packs. The crisis of constructed modes continued and more players began to prefer Battlegrounds. For example, according to the official infographic with the results of the Battle for Alterac Valley event, we can conclude that the player engagement was extremely low. Moreover, based on the overall level of our community on rewards track, we were able to determine that at the beginning of the year, players were spending just over an hour a day playing Hearthstone daily, and during the last expansion, player engagement was halved.
This is not surprising, since the Alterac Valley metagame contained a large number of problems. Despite the increase in profits, Hearthstone began to plunge into a crisis, which was especially noticeable against the backdrop of the release of the full-fledged version of the Yu-Gi-Oh! On all platforms. We had the impression that Hearthstone was on the verge of death. The game needed urgent changes. We dedicated a special video to this topic. Check it out, if you haven't seen it yet.
2022 is the year of the three-headed Hydra. This is also very symbolic, since the main goal of the developers was to improve the 3 main game modes within the platform. But nothing significant has happened at this point. The year isn't over yet, so it's too early for definitive conclusions, but here are a few quick facts. Mercenaries still haven't received any drastic changes. Moreover, there is a significant reduction in new content. The classic format has no development plans. The Duels mode gets very few new things. The Battlegrounds mode is no longer completely free, and the new progression system looks pointless. The introduction of runestones angered the community. Rewards track does not receive any upgrades. Achievements in the game remain meaningless numbers. The new brawls are almost gone, as is the new solo content. Mini-sets do not have a significant impact on the metagame, although competitive play has become much better and more interesting. Player engagement during the expansion of Sunken City has increased significantly, and this is the most important achievement of the developers.
Despite this, Hearthstone's mobile revenue declined significantly in the first half of the year to just $33 million. The second half of the year shows an even more terrible result. The Castle Nathria phase could be the lowest income phase in the history of the game. Hearthstone has become very large and every aspect of the game requires not only regular content but also the subsequent development and implementation of completely new things. Unfortunately, the first 2 phases of this year did not bring us anything significant in this regard and are a period of stagnation for the game. But this does not mean that Hearthstone is dying, rather the opposite is happening. The number of active players is gradually increasing, as is their engagement, which means that Blizzard's main problem lies in the extremely inefficient monetization of its offerings. By the end of the year, the company could lose tens of millions of dollars. But that's not all. There is a good chance that Blizzard will implement major changes during the 3rd phase of the expansion. According to numerous rumors, we may expect the return of the Death Knights as a new class. If so, then Blizzard will create another information bomb that can attract the attention of millions of players. This will be the best period for upgrading existing things.
We can't wait to hear your opinion. What do you think about the current state of affairs in the game?
Will you be disappointed if we don't see a Death Knight in the 3rd phase of the year?
Share your thoughts in the comments, and also take part in the voting on our community tab. Finally, we would like to express our huge gratitude to our patrons.
Dear friends, your support is incredibly important to us.
Thanks to each of you for being with us today.
We hope to be able to get in touch in the future.
Take care of yourself.
And good luck.
Job's done.